All right. Today we want to talk more on what we call it, the hate system. The hate system, very active. The vampire or hate system, we call it, right? So if you check out now, you see the notifications it used to pop. You see this notification here. They said that crash 500 is rising in the sense that is to say is uptrend now, is moving up. Do you understand that the momentum of the market is up? So on that note now, if you go to that particular crash, let's say, you see if you check the market trend of the crash, the thing just produced spike now. Do you understand? So because of this, why this spike is because of this arrow here. You see the haste arrow, right? And of which I told you, once this arrow appears, you see this arrow now. Once it appears, that means there must be a spike, right? So now look at here. Let me close this in. You see this one. Look at the arrow here, right? So you see the arrow appears. What happened? You see the spike cover the space. Then you see here the arrow appear. It's telling us that we should the crash is still having momentum, up momentum, right? Do you see it? It has a buy momentum. It's a bit uptrend, but you know, even in a uptrend, the spike can still come, then the trend will continue. Do you understand? So it's just why this thing appears is to observe this trend that will cause this double bottom that will make this thing to gather momentum to continue. All right, and that small spike that just happened here because as a result of this. So how do we trade spike with it? How do we trade spike with it? So whenever market is moving and this arrow occur, so you just wait, hold for spike, vam. Do you understand? So once the arrow occur, you take your spike. Just like I told you, it has a bit different from viper. The difference is that it will tell you the actual trend of the market. Do you understand? You can decide not to, for some of you that trade trend move, you can decide not to do what? To be catching all this small spike because it has given you trend. You just ride the trend along. You forget about all those small spike. Just like recently it's telling us that boom 500. I don't know that hey, see, don't spike. This thing, I wanted to show you. Let me go where we take the trade. We take the trade here, right? If you check here down here, let me see if you can see it. If you check down here, you see profit for boom 500, right? Boom 500 because it gives us notifications that boom 500 is about to spike, right? And what is the notification? The notification is this arrow. You see this arrow now, not the yellow one. The yellow one is viper. Just forget about the yellow one. I have told you yellow one yesterday. I'm talking about this green arrow, right? You see it, you look at the spike. You see it here again, look at the spike, right? So it's still telling us that crash something is. This is how the notification will always pop. But this one is talking about crash 500 that is rising. That means it's moving up. Do you understand? So if you are using vampire, if you want to trade just spike, so the moment this arrow, because I told you now that clear that the other one, you see, still boom 500 is still uptrend. Do you understand? You say it's rising. That is to say it's about to it has spiked now. Just look at it. It's telling us it has spiked again. You see it? Yes, because the entire trend is what? Up. If you see buy here, you see the arrow, this arrow is pointing up and it's still telling us to buy. That means it's properly up. Do you understand? But what, don't mind this. So the young man has an arrow. So of which whenever the arrow comes, that means you should expect spike from that point. Let me show you the arrows. In the previous market, we have been catching all these things since. These people should stop chatting me now. Let me do business. So you see the arrow here, look at the spike. You see the arrow here again, look at it here. Look at the spike, very massive. So here something cover this one, the arrow is here, and the most important thing is that the arrow must come out before the spike. You understand? Let us keep moving. Look at it. You see there is these people stop. Is rising. We know crash 500 is rising. So look at the arrow here again, not the yellow one. This arrow, you see it? That is the haste arrow. So whenever it comes out, you see the spike. Look at the arrow here again. You see the arrow here. So look at the spike. You see the arrow here. Look at the spike. You see the arrow here. Look at the spike. So on the price movement, in the case of bull market, it will still go to crash. In the case of what? Bull market, if the market is moving and you eventually see this pop up, but first of all, it will also give you notification here first. You see crash 300 is spiking, so it's on a sell zone. It's want to sell. You see it here now. So because it has jammed this resistance, and why it's spiking is because of this arrow you are seeing. You see the arrow here. You see the arrow here. So it's spiking. That is why they just give us the spiking signal. So you see, we still spike more even as that. Do you understand? Because it has hitting a resistance zone. So this arrow was here to tell you that this thing is moving down. Do you get that now? It's moving down. So that is what is indicating. So whenever spike is moving, or like here, just check here now. You see? So when this price was moving up, all of the sudden this arrow appears, right? It appears. What happened? The market crashed. This thing is so if you see here again, the thing appear and look at the crash. You see here again, the thing appear and look at the crash. So in the case of crash market, the arrow that will appear will be red, but in the case of boom market, it will appear as a green. So the green indicates buys, while the red indicates sells in the case of crash, right? So that is how it's being done. Let me attend to people that are requesting for withdrawal and deposit. These people, they don't know. So if you watch here now, you see this arrow has popped again. This trend detective something, boom, this thing is down, but it will still spike because of this arrow. You see the arrow here. You see in each of this spike, you see the arrow. Each of this spike, you see the arrow. So someone will come to my DM and say, how does it work? Thunder go fire your head. So whenever you are writing and this arrow occur, you see the arrow here now, definitely spike must occur. Do you understand? And I have told us that the stop loss for both the Viper and the Vampire, whenever the arrow occur and you take a trade, is 10 candle. Whenever you are using it, you take a trade after the appearance of these arrows, and maybe you have 10 candle drawdown and the spike doesn't occur, you get out of the market. But in so many occasions, in 98% of occasions, they will not come out and draw down to 10 candle without the spike occurring. So that is one part of the secret I want to tell you. Then the second secret is that if you are using Viper, you see it's indicating downtrend. And some of you are amateur in this system that whenever spike, you just do bam. But before I go there, you should now see that this thing has another confirmation down there. That when this thing, because this Vampire come with this particular something you are seeing down here. You see, if you watch out now, you should be able to understand that this thing is touching the down channel. That means it starts to spike up. You see, each time it's come very close to this down lower part, then the arrow will pop up. You now know it's a double confirmation. You see, it comes down. You see what? The spike, it comes down. Whenever it's coming very close to this down part and the arrow occur, you now know that one is a short banker. And so it is on the crash market. So it is on what? On the crash market. So you see, this one now is tampering up. This is crash 500. It's tampering up. So if any arrow appear from here, if any arrow, this crash 300, I've been telling you is what trend? Is an uptrend market. You see it has been going up all those while. We took some trade and the spike happened, short spike, because it's not in what here. The spike happened, then move again, happen, then continue, because it's uptrend market. So, but because this thing is attaching up here, because this thing is already up, so if an arrow appears, that is the spike, because this one has got to the uppermost zone, which is the overbought level, right? So whenever it is spike and touch the north zone, so then you go here because it's an uptrend market. Understand? So it serves as a confirmation again in this system of Vampire. Vampire is too good to show you the trend. Hadn't been, you have been riding the trend. You remember in the morning I told you is uptrend, and if you check the movement, I told you the different Vampire. That is what you call it. The Vampire show you trend of the market, right? Trend. And because it's uptrend now, you can see the trend is moving up, and you see this trend line. It also comes with this trend line and support and resistance. So it's a very fundamental tools that has every specification. It's telling us that crash 500 is still rising. You see, this one will also indicate once this one is buy and here is buy, that means it's completing up. But sometimes this one write buy. All of this one will turn red. Now check where I can see that kind of this thing. That means the trend is not yet confirmed. So even boom 500 that spikes, it is spikes because of this arrow. You can see arrow here, right? You can see the arrow here. That is why this spike because of this arrow that appears. But it's still uptrend. That doesn't make it uptrend. And you see the arrow appeared here, and this thing has what they are touched over bottom level, and that is why I said anytime it touches above level and you see if the arrow appear and this thing has touched over bottom, what is to take? Because you know you get that now. So that is the implication. But it's still up to maybe we it and still because you know the trend that is up. If you check the situation, you know that 500 is right. I'm still up. You know, if you just day trade, you just take it in and remain there. Like 500 is a what uptrend. You see it's uptrend, it's downtrend. I mean, you see my momentum sense is already turned red and it's still sell. So when they come here, but the arrow is there. So the implication is that it will still what spike. It will still what spike. Let me show you there. Sorry about this, my zooming level. You see, is what sell. Everything is on a downtrend. Do you understand? So, but when it gets to this zone, it will spike. Do you understand? So that is the expectation. But it will spike and continue the trend. Do you know why it will spike? Then number one, why it will spike is just a retracement. You know, spike can occur in a downtrend or uptrend as a retracement, not as a reversal. Do you understand? So why it will spike is that why? Because the momentum it take to break this particular zone we are seeing. All this zone you are seeing is not part of this system. It's my personal choose. So when you are buying vampire, what you see is this arrow, you see this trend, you see this confirmation, and you see this support and resistance single line support and resistance very active. So then